Greetings, service entrepreneurs. This is Dhane Crowley, and today we're going to talk about how to add more zeros to your bank account through today's presentation, which is service company growth, how to use the internet to increase your customer base. So, if you're a service company, any company that customer has to call or go to the website to schedule service, this presentation is for you. So, that's anything in home services, real estate, financial, beauty, mechanical, healthcare, legal, travel, pet services, educational, construction, business services, and more. This is for you. So, if you've been struggling with creating a lead generation process that is able to help generate a steady flow of leads for you so that you can, in a sense, increase your customer base on autopilot, then again, this is for you. So today's agenda is how the internet works. Then we're going to talk about the digital marketing pillars. And last but not least, we're going to talk about how you can take action today to get your digital marketing foundation in order. How the internet works. So the internet, in regards to finding businesses, it really boils down to three things: people actively searching for service businesses, people passively searching for service businesses, in a sense, as they are engaged in social media, scrolling, surfing the net, and then people get shown ads. So throughout both processes, whether they're actively searching or passively searching, people see ads. And so your job as a business owner, service business owner, I should say, is more so to make sure that you're being you're discoverable. You're in places that your potential customer is looking for. So, because again, as a local service company, a, a plumber, a mechanic, a nail tech, any type of service, there's a demand for it in your local area, and people are going online looking for different places to go get their services, or different people to do their services for them. So the more discoverable you are online, and as well as some other things, the more opportunity you will have to show up, and the more opportunity, and the more, in a sense, digital real estate you claim, the more of an opportunity you'll have to show up, and the more opportunity you have to show up, obviously, more opportunity to get some new customers. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the pillars. And once we get through the pillars, then we'll go ahead and talk about how you can take some action. So pillar number one, be discoverable. So as I was just talking about, when it comes to increasing your customer base, specifically using the internet, Google is your friend. In any service business, you have an address, and that address, in a sense, is what is going to allow you to do, some of the basic fundamental things online so that you can be more discoverable. And that's having a Google My Business profile, first and foremost. Beautiful thing about those, they're free. All you have to do is go ahead and claim it, set it up. And once it's set up, then obviously now you're in the mix, you're in the game. Even if you don't have some of the other fundamentals that we'll be talking about later on down the line, you can still be able to generate a nice steady flow of business with a well optimized Google My Business listings. The next component to becoming more discoverable is your SEO, so search engine optimization. And that just all boils down to making sure you've identified some keywords that you're going to be focusing and targeting on, so that when people use such these keywords, your digital real estate, they end up on your digital real estate, your Google My Business profile, your website, your blog post, your social media profiles, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And last but not least, social media. Again, people are actively and passively online searching for, searching for the services that they're going to need, but as well as, just hanging out online. But just because they're hanging out online doesn't mean that they're not, consciously aware of some of the services that they need. So that's where social media comes into play, because just because you're a plumber, for example, it doesn't mean that you know You can't create content that's engaging in something that people actually want to see. But also too, so it's just another opportunity for you to claim more digital real estate so that you can show up more when people are searching for what you have to offer. Because again, through your Google My Business, your website, social media, you have the opportunity to put the keywords and the keyword phrases that you want to show up for in your profiles, on your website pages, etc. So that when people are searching, you show up. Because ours got to keep that in mind. There's already traffic on the internet. There's already people looking for what you have to offer. The question is, have you, put the pieces in place so that when they search for these things, you show up? The next pillar, look like a pro. So you don't want to put all that work into being discoverable, and then when people get to your website specifically, which is the heart of your digital presence, the centerpiece. You don't want them to get there and then not feel like you're a trustworthy service company. So that's why it's important for you to make sure your digital branding is consistent. So from your Google My Business profiles, your social media, your website, obviously you want to have some consistent branding in regards to, again, branding being, how you want people to feel about your business. And then marketing being, building your brand. So getting the word out about how you want people to feel about your business. But part of how you want people to feel about your business online is, your imagery. So your things like your logo and how your website is set up. So when it comes specifically to your website, you definitely want to make sure it has a modern look and feel to it, and you want to make sure all the information is updated, because you don't want to put all the work in to being discoverable to then people land on your website or your digital, your social media profiles, and either there's nothing updated, no updated content, or you have the wrong information, wrong phone numbers, wrong directions because you've moved, or something else. So, uh, looking like a pro is, again, first impressions matter, and looking like a pro online, it matters. Because the same way people may be driving down Main Street, USA, and they look to their left, they look to their right, they see businesses. You know, those businesses storefront that those represents their brand, how they want people to feel about their business. And if it's looking tacky at the end of the day, people aren't gonna want to mess with the business. And the same thing applies online. If your digital presence looks tacky, if it looks old, if it looks like you're not really taking care of it, then in a sense, the perception most likely is going to be that you're not in business, you're not active. So why should they deal with you? And last but not least, images. Definitely want to make sure you're using professional images as best as you can. Um, when you're out on jobs, you definitely want to snap some pictures. You want to get some video, and always think action. So whatever is involving some actions, things as simple as someone hitting a hammer, nailing a hammer into a piece of wood if you're a contractor, or someone screwing a wrench if you're a plumber, or painting some nails if you're a nail tech. If you're a beautician, washing hair, just whenever there's a sense of action, when it comes to video, capture it, or get a picture of it, and then post it online. And obviously, there's strategy, behind how to post and what to post and whatnot. But again, the most important thing is you just want to look like you're a professional business that does what you say that you do, as best as you can. Now, obviously, there's some instances where you might not necessarily be able to get photos, but the biggest point here is you still have the ability to have a logo. You have the ability to do certain things to create content. Even if it's just things as simple as talking about what it is that you do. So if you're a notary, for example, which is one of the projects that I'm currently working on right now, getting this site ranked. But nevertheless, even if you're a notary, it's just doing things as simple as writing a blog post, and then making videos talking about the blog post. It's simple stuff like that. But most importantly, when it comes to being looking like a pro, again, just always think you know modern look and feel. You'll never go wrong with that. All right, next pillar, number 3, have social proof. So word of mouth is still a thing, and reviews are basically the digital version of word of mouth. So obviously, the more reviews you have, the better per se, quote unquote. But you want to have positive reviews, and more positive reviews, the better. But when it comes to your service business, it's very important that you understand that whenever you're out on these jobs, you just finished up, you know, just cleaned up, customers happy. That's the opportune time to ask for a review, and let them know. You can send them a link so that they can make it easy for them. But at the end of the day, don't be afraid to ask for the reviews. Anytime you provide service with to satisfaction, ask them to leave a review. And at the end of the day, over time, you'll begin to see your view count build, but you'll also start to see some movement in regards to your positioning in the search engine rankings, because again, reputation management matters, and the more reviews you have and the more positive reviews you have and the more you're being active, updated, the more that the Google sees that you are a real legitimate business that's active in online, the more it's going to prefer you when it shows certain things, because again, you're an active business, you're in business. All right. So when it comes to having social proof, again, ask for reviews and then focus on one site. So ideally Google, and but if Yelp is your thing or Facebook is your thing or some other platform, be my guest. But the premise here is again, reputation management. You just want to have like the power of one central point of focus, because again, when you're asking for reviews, you don't want to send them to three different places, because that's going to seem like some work. But if you just send them the one link, then more often than not, the customer, the satisfied customer, I should say, they're gonna do it. So you just have to give them, the steps in a sense to make it happen. And then a lot of times people, they say they're gonna do it and they might not do it. So just don't be afraid to follow up. A couple of weeks later, 2 weeks, just hey, I see that the review hasn't been left. Or I see I haven't seen your review pop up. Just here's a link, just in case you didn't you may have forgot, or you didn't get the last one. Just set a schedule up until you get the review, and eventually you'll get the review. It's not too often that you won't get the review. Every now and then, of course, someone won't give it to you, but for the most part, you'll get the review. Pillar number 4, capture leads. I would say this is one of the pillars that a lot of people miss out on. But pillar number 4 is all about capturing leads. So this all boils down to making sure that you have a visible and active phone number. Uh, I can't stress how important making your phone number visible is. A lot of times on websites, so service company websites, it's as if that a lot of these companies don't want you calling them, because their number is tucked off real small in the footer somewhere, or it's not there at all. So having your phone number visible, clear, throughout your website, your social media, business listings, it's very important, because again, people, you want to be able to capture the lead, and one of the simplest ways to capture the lead is just having a visible phone number that's active, that people can call and just get you right on the horn. But obviously you're a business, so if you're on the horn with someone, or your office is closed, you still want to be able to capture leads. So that's why it's important, throughout your digital presence, that you have something called call to actions. And these call to actions are things as simple as schedule a meeting, simple phrases, book an appointment, because again, as we've now evolved into this more digital age, a lot of people would prefer to do business online. They don't necessarily want to, deal with a person per se. They much rather go to your website, fill out a form, and then either conduct business with you via email, or have you give them a call back, when they're available. Because again, a lot of people work nowadays, so they might not necessarily be able to contact you during your normal business hours, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't still be able to capture the lead. And that's why it's important, that you have a digital presence set up, so that you're able to specifically drive traffic, to your website, so that you can capture the leads. And the way you're going to capture that lead is with a simple lead capture form. So Google Form, it's very simple. People come to your website, for example, they click a button, that takes them to a simple Google form that you've set up. The person fills out the form, boom, they hit submit, and then, that's a lead, and that's a hot lead. And this is the thing when it comes to leads. There's obviously in the service industry, home services, for example, you got these Thumbtack, Angie Lips type of sites, and what those sites are basically in the business of is just taking up space, on the home, basically on the first page of Google for popular keyword phrases in those specific service industries. They're basically capturing your information as, let's just say, someone looking for a plumber or a contractor for a bathroom remodel, and they're basically just taking your information, and then they're just basically selling it to multiple contractors. So that's why whenever you go to one of those sites, whether it's as a contractor or even just as as someone looking for a contractor, that's what's happening, service business owners. So when you sign up for these sites, and you're paying for these leads, be mindful that in most instances, a lot of cases, I don't want to I don't have any specific data to back this up, but based on just all the research that I've done, all the marketing, leaders that I follow, that's basically the premise behind these sites. So just be mindful of that, service business owners. A lot of times you might think that SEO isn't even worth it because you're not going to show up, because you're competing with the Angie Lists, the Thumbtacks of the world. But the reality is SEO still matters, and even though these platforms definitely will dominate the first page of Google for a lot of the keywords that you want to rank for, you know what's most important is, as long as you're doing your job and building your claiming your digital real estate, you're using your keywords and posting those, and doing your job online, then you will start to show up more. Google will start to see that you're a business and it's important for you to show up. All right. So capture leads, ladies and gentlemen. Capture leads. So bonus. So now, let's just say you've got your lead generation machine set up. It's automated. Everything's on autopilot, ready to go. Like I said, obviously, your main lead source is going to be in this instance, Google, driving traffic, through your Google My Business listing, through the keywords that you've been ranked for, and then being discoverable on social media. But one way to, in a sense, get instant and traffic to your website, specifically a dedicated marketing funnel in this instance, is doing digital ads. And so that's basically in your case is going to be Google ads, or Facebook ads. And so the platform you use is basically really boils down to the type of service that you use, and just think about it. Um, Obviously, you can use both, but again, if you're, let's just say, a plumber, then more than likely, if someone actually needs a plumber, they're not going to necessarily pull up Instagram or Facebook to search for a plumber. They're going to go to Google though. It's right on their phones, on their laptop, their tablet. That's where they're going to search. And so that's where you want to be discoverable at. That's where you want to be. That's where the party's at, in a sense. So, again, Google Ads just basically gives you an advantage of being able to be listed, top, front, and center for certain keywords. But again, it's also just a way for you to get instant exposure to your local market. Start driving some instant traffic to a dedicated funnel that you've set up, which is basically going to be two basic pages: a landing page and a thank you page, so that you can collect some and again, collect some leads. So when it comes to Facebook ads, for example, though, that's more so for passive search in regards to, again, when people are on Facebook or social media, they're not necessarily looking for your businesses per se, but because they have searched for maybe the type of services that you offer, your ads that revolving around that is going to start showing up when they're just casually browsing social media. So that, and then subconsciously obviously they're looking for a plumber. Oh yeah, I need a plumber, let me check this out. So that's how you'll be discoverable that way through running ads on Facebook or Instagram or any other social media platform. But most importantly, the thing here is again, driving traffic via ads is just a boost in a sense because you it's like a pay to play game. So as you're paying, yes, you're gonna get results, but the minute you stop paying, let me take that back. As you pay, yes, you're gonna get traffic, and if you have everything structured properly, you're gonna get your leads. But if you don't pay, then obviously you're not gonna get that traffic, which means you're not gonna get the same results. So that's why it's important to kind of like take a two front approach in regards to paid and organic exposure because um, you obviously want to build a solid foundation organically. So that's your Google My Business listing, your SEO and social media, and then you want to just use um, you know digital ads more so as like a boost to what you got going on. All right. So on that note, excuse me. On that note, let's talk about taking action. So if you made it this far, then obviously, increasing your customer base is top of mind. It's an important part of your business. You kind of want to get in order. So if you have like I talked about before, we talked about 4 pillars. So once you have these pillars in place, this is going to basically set a solid foundation for your all your digital marketing efforts moving forward. And if you don't have these digital marketing pillars in place, then at some point your online lead source is going to dry up. So if you want to talk about supercharging your service company's digital presence and website today, I want you to head over to the website dieseldigital.com so you can answer a few questions about your website so we can go ahead and contact you back and get your digital marketing foundation in order. All right. Or feel free to give us a call, 424 261 1587. Make it a great day.